What's up, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you may have missed this week. We have a full lineup of news for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, plus we go over the official announcement of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's delay. In the entertainment world, we've got the box office numbers for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Knuckles is getting his own Sonic show spinoff. Hope you're having a great day, and let's jump right into it.
As if the final trailer dropping yesterday wasn't enough, a new The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom TV spot seems to have leaked on Reddit. It includes new footage of a boss and an area we haven't seen before. Now obviously we can't show you the leaked commercial, but I can describe it to you. It intersperses people playing Tears of the Kingdom in various settings and reacting to it with gameplay footage. There are several new clips we haven't seen yet, including Link walking across some thin, broken beams from Sky Island to Sky Island and using Ascend to sneak up on some enemies. But the real gold comes later in the trailer. After seeing a three-headed dragon that looks suspiciously like a Zelda 1 boss, we get confirmation that this is, in fact, Gleeok. A flame Gleeok, to be precise, hinting that there may be other varieties elsewhere in the world. Notably, Link is fighting Gleeok on the bridge of Hylia, meaning that Tears of the Kingdom may have a somewhat Skyrim-like aspect to it, where dragons can just swoop down and pick fights with you. The other big new element is an area we haven't seen yet. This comes at the end, with a father playing Tears of the Kingdom with his daughter. We see Link in a dark area, but when he shoots a specific plant on the side of a tree, it lights up, illuminating a dark forest area. The area is covered in plants and mushrooms and features a giant, glowing gold pod of some sort encased in a tree. It's likely the commercial is going to start running on television sometime in the next month. Either way, the mushroom area and the Gleeok fight alone have huge implications for what Tears of the Kingdom could include. And the Tears of the Kingdom news keeps rolling in. We now know who is voicing Ganondorf in the sequel. Critical Role's Matthew Mercer shared on Twitter that he lent his voice to Ganon's humanoid form. In addition to Critical Role, Mercer has voiced numerous characters in games and animation, including Demon Slayer, Fire Emblem Engage, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Overwatch 2, Return to Monkey Island, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and many more. Ganondorf actually hasn't been seen in a Zelda game since Twilight Princess. We will all witness a King's revival on May 12th.
The final trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom dropped earlier this week, and naturally, fans have been poring over every frame. The biggest reveal from that new trailer wasn't a new ability for Link or a new location, but it was the returning villain, Ganondorf himself. This new Zelda game will feature a new hotter Ganondorf, or should I say Ganondaddy. Official Ganondorf art from Nintendo also is making gamers swoon over who TikTok is calling Daddy Ganon. But the new artwork also unearthed an old fan theory that originated from Zelda Breath of the Wild. Ganondorf may actually be a hero this whole time. In Breath of the Wild, the Kakariko village elder Impa shared with Link the legend of the Great Calamity that befell Hyrule thousands of years ago. During the cinematic, there's an illustration of a large dragon-like beast doing battle with one of the reincarnations of Princess Zelda, and what we all assume to be a reincarnation of Link. But what if that's not Link? The illustration of the hero is wearing green just like Link usually wears in most Zelda games, but check the hair. Flowing red locks. And look at the new artwork of Ganon. Red hair? Check. And what's this? Green tinted skin. You know what? Maybe the internet is onto something. In the lore of the Zelda franchise, Princess Zelda, Link, and Ganondorf, sometimes known as Ganon, are all reincarnated every few generations, with Zelda and Link teaming up to do battle with Ganondorf for the fate of Hyrule. But seeing as how Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom likely take place furthest along in the Zelda timeline, what if this reincarnation of Ganon is trying to break the cycle? Pull in Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 trick and be a good guy. What do you think? Give us your best, most thought out Zelda theories in the comments. In related Nintendo news, Pokemon archivists have unearthed original scans of the Kanto and Johto Pokemon, and they looked a little different from how we know them today. Via Twitter, Pokemon archivist Lu2 was sent, quote, accurate scans of the original 251 Ken Sugimori Pokemon artwork to archive in high quality. Sugimori is the primary creature designer for the Pokemon series and the man behind the original monster rosters for the Game Boy games. The artwork doesn't reveal any radical design changes, but smaller, more subtle details like colors and misshapen features were present in the older, low-quality art. Lu2 explained that artwork that made its way to the internet from the Game Boy days were low-quality scans from Nintendo Power's Pokemon Red and Blue Player's Guide way back in 1998. Eventually, the washed-out look with inaccurate colors became the default for the original designs. But thanks to archivists like Lu2 and Twitter user at Excalibur0_Z, who sent over the scans, we were able to see what these pocket monsters were supposed to look like.
Rocksteady has officially delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League to February 2nd, 2024, quite a few months from its previous May 26th, 2023 release date. The developer announced the news on Twitter today, writing in a statement, "We've made the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be the best quality experience for players. Thank you to our amazing community for the continued support, patience, and understanding. There is much more to share in the months ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in Metropolis next year." So Suicide Squad is now the first game to get a release date in 2024. It was announced way back in August of 2020. It was supposed to be out last year, and then was delayed to early 2023. At the Game Awards in December, it got a May 26 release date, but then was delayed again after a disastrous State of Play demonstration in February. Now it's bumped all the way into next year. If, after all this time, Rocksteady doesn't nix the always online requirement and the battle pass and the dumb shoot the purple things gameplay, people will show this game no mercy. So that's a crazy story to start with. Let's talk about a game that actually is coming out this May. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is bringing back more familiar faces as a classic Zelda enemy looks to be a boss in the new game. As revealed in the new and final pre-launch trailer, which also gives fans their first look at Ganondorf, Gleeok is rearing its heads for the first time in 16 years. You probably know him from the OG Zelda, but would be forgiven if, like me, you did not know his name. Though a two-headed version made an appearance in 2007's Phantom Hourglass, the three-headed Gleeok shown in the new trailer hasn't been seen since 1987. Oh yeah, its two-headed variant also appeared in Oracle of Seasons. It's not the only boss-looking beastie shown in the new trailer, suggesting Tears of the Kingdom is returning to a classic Zelda boss formula. The latest trailer seems to have gotten everyone super excited, even those that were maybe a little on the fence about it. As of today, we are officially less than 1 month away, people. The sequel to Breath of the Wild arrives on May 12th. But exactly where will Link kick off his new adventure? Well, Nintendo has also revealed where players will begin their journey as Link in Tears of the Kingdom. On the game's official website, Nintendo writes, "Link begins his journey on one of the many mysterious floating islands that have suddenly appeared in the skies high above Hyrule. It's there our hero will have to gain new abilities before returning to the surface world to begin his epic adventure." It's interesting that we won't be able to go to the surface right away, but that might help the game feel fresh and new, and hopefully appease those who have thought Tears of the Kingdom looks a little too much like the original, since it does once again take place in the same Hyrule. However, according to Nintendo, in the next section of the website, the sky isn't the only thing that's changed in Hyrule. Familiar locations have been dramatically transformed with new towns, dank caves, and mysterious gaping chasms springing up across the world, all waiting to be explored. Again, it's less than a month away, or to put it another way, there are just 29 sleeps to go until you're playing Tears of the Kingdom. The Lord of the Rings Gollum has had a bit of a rocky ride to its upcoming release. It was first announced way back in March of 2019. We got the first screenshots a year later, and fans were not super impressed with the look of the game. As gameplay details started to emerge, a lot of people were wondering why developer Daedalic thought Gollum was the right choice for the main character in a Lord of the Rings adventure. Well, eventually it was delayed into 2022, and IGN actually wrote a pretty negative preview after seeing the game in May of that year. Well, then it was delayed again, and was only just recently given another release date, May 25th, 2023. So it looks like it's finally coming out, for better or worse, but Gollum has hit yet another bump in the road. Gollum will encounter many of the usual Middle-earth characters on his journey, elves included, and Daedalic went to the trouble of hiring voice actors to record all the elves' lines in their native tongue, which is called Sindarin. Daedalic provided a statement on the matter to Eurogamer, which reads, "While traversing through Mirkwood and other parts of Middle-earth, Gollum will be able to listen to various dialogues between elves. These dialogues add to the atmosphere and world building. With the Sindarin VO, these dialogues will be held in Sindarin." So that sounds pretty cool and immersive, right? Yeah, except it isn't in the base game. It's locked behind the Deluxe Edition, or Precious Edition, of Lord of the Rings Gollum, which costs $10 more than the Standard Edition. The statement from Daedalic also reads, "The elves in the base game will speak in their tongue, Sindarin, from time to time. On top of that, the Sindarin VO expansion adds additional Sindarin lines to some of the characters in the background." It concludes with, "It is a DLC for the real Tolkien devotees who want to immerse themselves even more into the world of Middle-earth." So you aren't a real Tolkien fan unless you're willing to cough up 10 extra bucks. The fact that they already have all this dialogue recorded, but they're locking it behind a paywall, it's really like a Star Wars game where all those alien characters wouldn't speak their own language unless you sprung for the Deluxe Edition. Seems shady. But in any case, we'll finally get to see if Lord of the Rings Gollum was worth the wait on May 25th.
10 days ago, Joseph Staten, head of creative on Halo Infinite, announced he was leaving Microsoft and didn't tell anyone where he was going. Today, Staten took to Twitter to announce he's now at Netflix as the creative director of Netflix Games and is building a new AAA multi-platform game and original IP. In a statement to IGN, Staten said, "In my work life, there's nothing I love more than collaborating with others to build worlds filled with iconic characters, deep mysteries, and endless adventures." We have no details on what this new IP or game is, but Staten is a huge pillar in the industry and has an impressive history of game development, so there's no doubt this will be great. Just in case you're not familiar with his work, Staten wrote the original Halo trilogy and directed Halo 3 ODST, and was also the original narrative director on Destiny before he left Bungie to join Microsoft in 2013. Staten was Microsoft's senior creative director focusing on franchise strategy for Microsoft Studios titles. Then he returned to Halo work as the campaign project lead, then the head of creative for Halo Infinite. He took a step back from Infinite and rejoined Xbox Publishing in January this year, where he stayed till his departure earlier this month. What do you hope to see from Staten? Something totally new, or maybe something connected to a hit Netflix property? Like, I don't know, a Tiger King survival horror game or a Love is Blind hero shooter? I'm just spitballing here. Staying on Xbox-related news, Microsoft just announced that it's going to change the Xbox Home dashboard design. There was a lot of community feedback after Microsoft invited Xbox insiders to test out a series of experiments implementing home screen changes to try and create a more personalized experience and showcase top trends and fan requests. But that didn't really work out, as the community felt the new home screen was way too crowded and the UI blocked the backgrounds that users could choose. The items on screen would cover most images in the background, and the community voiced their desire to see more balance between those items to interact with and their backgrounds to make their homes truly feel personalized. In a blog post, Microsoft did state that they were pausing these home screen experiments to, quote, balance the experience, accessibility, function, and the needs of our community, and bring you a great and refreshed home experience. So Alpha and Alpha Skip Xbox insiders will be reverted back to the original Xbox Home experience, and everything they had activated before the test will be activated. Ivy Krisloff, senior product manager lead at Xbox Experience, has said their team was working hard to incorporate all of the feedback into the development and would share details soon. After seeing the UI, I'm definitely glad the community's voices were heard. I could have grown used to how it looked, sure, but honestly, having the home experience to be as smooth as possible is definitely more welcoming to gamers. I don't want to open up my console and be bombarded with a cluttered screen and have to navigate through all of that. I'm curious to see what Xbox comes up with as a solution. Honestly, just bring back the Xbox 360's Blades UI. It's time to take a quick break. When we come back, Netflix is officially shutting down their rental DVD service, plus we dive into the box office numbers for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. See you in a bit. Welcome back. After roughly 25 years of the service, the Netflix DVD rental service is being shut down. But first, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is raking it in at the box office. Let's find out some more.
There they go right there, the Mario Brothers, baby. Now, the highest grossing movie of 2023 so far is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, the amount of one-ups this film has gotten is to the tune of $508.7 million worldwide. Now, the film currently stands at number 2 in the animated film category, somehow knocking Demon Slayer Mugen Train down a peg. Now, Gru and his minions, however, are well ahead of Mario, with Minions: The Rise of Gru at $942.5 million. Now, at the time of this video, it's only been a few days since the release of the Mario Brothers movie, so it'll likely double jump over Gru in the coming days and weeks. As for video game adaptations, Mario is the highest grossing film ever, surpassing Warcraft. Did anyone even see that movie? I don't think so. Anyways, surpassing Warcraft and out-sleuthing Detective Pikachu. Now, Universal is definitely pulling in the dough with this one, as the Mario movie is the studio's 10th biggest animated movie worldwide. Now, this film might answer the question for some fans: who's the better, more profitable video game mascot between Sonic and Mario? With the Mario movie hitting number 1 at the domestic box office for highest grossing video game adaptation of all time, Sonic is surprisingly left in the dust. I thought he ran fast. What are you doing? You too slow now, baby. And I love you, Sonic, you know that. As we double dash into the weeks to come, the rainbow road ahead looks clear of any banana peels or Koopa shells for the Mario movie to continue to break records at the box office. All right, now sidestepping into the next topic, we got an update on the streaming release for the upcoming Flash movie. Now, during a recent HBO Max live stream event to promote the rebranding of the streaming service to Max, CEO of HBO, Casey Bloys, announced that the DC movie will land on Max this fall. Now, this means the Flash movie, expected out in June, will have a rather lengthy theater-to-streaming release window than movies like Black Adam and Shazam 2. Now, due to each's box office performance, those two movies saw its theatrical run unceremoniously cut short. Now, as for this shift in theater-to-streaming release windows, you might remember David Zaslav speaking upon the experimentation of movie releases since the pandemic and how he's been course-correcting some of the moves the previous regime made. Quote, "We have a different view on the wisdom of releasing direct-to-streaming films, and we have taken some aggressive steps to course-correct the previous strategy." Now, as many of you might already know, some of those aggressive steps involve the cancellation of direct-to-streaming movies, most notably the Batgirl film. I still want to see that. Sarcastically, not because I'm interested in it, but I do. Anyways, as for now, we can expect to watch The Flash in theaters June 16th. All right, now speaking of streaming, Amazon is looking to take advantage of MGM's catalog by unearthing a bunch of its IPs for new shows and movies. Now, Amazon acquired the Hollywood studio for $8.5 billion back in March of 2022. Now, as such, Amazon Studios is focused on developing new movies and TV shows based on the likes of Legally Blonde, RoboCop, Stargate, Barbershop, Pink Panther, and many other shows and movies in MGM's library. And according to Deadline, IPs like Legally Blonde, Stargate, and RoboCop are already in the early stages of conversations as it pertains to developing them for movie and TV. Now, the question I'd like to throw to you, the viewer, is how much would you pay to see new iterations of Stargate and RoboCop on either the big or small screen?
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, I thought so. Right now, we got an update on the Sonic movie spin-off, Knuckles, coming to Paramount+. Now, casting includes returning Sonic the Hedgehog 2's Idris Elba as the titular echidna and Adam Pally, who you might remember was the bumbling Green Hills police officer Wade Whipple. Now, Tika Sumpter will also reprise her role from the movies, guest starring in a few episodes. Now, no word on whether James Marsden will make any appearances as Donut Lord. Now, production for the Sonic spinoff is currently underway in London, with director Jeff Fowler returning to helm the pilot episode and executive producing the Knuckles series. Now, one of the primary questions fans might have about the upcoming series is, what's it about and where does it fall in the overall timeline of the Sonic movies? Like, will it take place before the events seen in the films as an origin story for Knuckles, or perhaps just before Knuckles meets Robotnik and finds his way to Green Hills? Well, the official logline suggests it'll take place after the events of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as a lead up to Sonic 3. And it also details that Knuckles agrees to train Officer Wade in the ancient ways of the echidna, taking him under his wing as his protege. Now, how he plans to teach a bumbling cop how to be an echidna warrior is beyond me, but with the comedic delivery both characters had in Sonic 2, this sounds like the series will lean more on the comedy side of things than high-stakes action. Now, this also leads to another question: who will be the big baddie of the Knuckles series? Now, given the end credits scene reveal from Sonic 2 showing Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 3 is moving into Sonic Adventure territory with its storytelling. So with that, if they wanted to tee things up for the big screen return in Sonic 3, we might see the first Guardian of the Chaos Emerald show up in Chaos. Now, Chaos was the water-based enemy seen in Sonic Adventure 1 who changed forms with every Chaos Emerald it acquired. Now, Chaos, also known as the God of Destruction, would be an appropriate enemy for the Knuckles series given its connection to the Chaos Emerald and the Knuckles clan, who sealed Chaos in the Master Emerald 3,000 years ago. As the story goes with Chaos, it was released by Dr. Eggman, but soon betrayed him and set out on a path of destruction. And with the Master Emerald being destroyed towards the end of Sonic 2, causing the disbursement of the Chaos Emeralds, one of the plots could be Knuckles and Wade pursuing the Chaos Emeralds with Chaos in its first form trailing behind them. Now, while I know this might sound different from the video game, as Sonic was the core hero going up against Chaos, the films have taken liberties with the source material and merely using the Sonic games as a blueprint for how to approach things in a more cinematic way to maximize fan service for Sonic enthusiasts. Like myself, I'm very enthusiastic when it comes to Sonic, as you can clearly tell. Now, with Chaos potentially being the villain in the Knuckles series, the events there should perfectly set up what we'll see in Sonic 3 with the inclusion of Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, we'll see how much chaos control Sonic fans will have as we wait for the Knuckles series to hit Paramount+. Now, with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 scheduled at the time of this video to premiere sometime in December of next year, it'll likely be that we'll see the Knuckles series on the small screen sometime later this year or early next, building up to the hype of the upcoming movie. Now, as for now, director Jeff Fowler did tease this image of the slate, signaling production is underway. Now, we'll keep you updated as more news breaks on both the Knuckles series and Sonic 3 the movie. As for now, drop your theories as to who you think the big baddie will be in the Knuckles series leading up to the third Sonic movie installment. Alright, Mamma Mia, would you look at that? From Sega to Nintendo, the Super Mario Bros. Movie continues to dominate, jumping to a total of $347.8 million at the domestic box office. Now that brings its total to $677.96 million globally. Now, just 2 weekends in, the Mario movie is breaking all kinds of animation and video game adaptation records at the box office, with it being the highest grossing video game adaptation to ever double jump onto the silver screen. It's honestly no surprise that the Illumination film is doing well, as the Mario franchise has a long and storied history steeped in video games, and is one of Nintendo's most popular franchises to date. As the weeks continue, I'm sure more folks will grab their friends and say, "Let's go see the Mario movie." All right, now it took 25 years, but Netflix is finally getting rid of one of its first offerings that has been on the decline as of recent years due to the convenience of streaming. Now, Netflix is packing up and shipping out its DVD by mail service, DVD.com, come September 29th. So you have until then to rent those DVDs. Now, as to whether or not you wish to return them is up to you. But Netflix did clarify it'll accept returns until October 27th. Though the DVD industry was once booming, bringing in billions of dollars, it's seen a significant shrinkage in recent years. Now just look at how many Blockbuster video stores are still around. Practically none. Now, we don't have the exact numbers from Netflix as to how many consumers still partook in its physical DVD rental service, but revenue from it has gone down from $200 million in 2022 and 2021 to $100 million as of last year. So while Netflix hasn't made it public as to how many consumers are still subscribed to its service, looking at the recent revenue numbers, it's clear that it wasn't profitable. Though the company started off as a DVD rental company back in 1997, it was definitely a smart move transitioning over to streaming and then later creating original content for its platform. Now, while it looks to sunset that archaic offering, it's serving up something that is universally unwanted, and that's the broad rollout of its password sharing crackdown. Now, looking at the company's Q1 2023 shareholder report, we have a timeline as to when to expect Netflix to hit us with its paid sharing of subscriber accounts. Now, it says it'll be rolling out in the US come Q2, which means just a few months from now. Now, what this means is we can expect to pay a little extra for being generous to our significant others, friends, and family, allowing them to share our accounts. Now, this obviously isn't good for us subscribers, as it means we'll be charged slightly more, but for Netflix, it's yielded financial results in the regions it first tested the account sharing program in. And in some regions, those that were sharing an account saw a message that read, quote, "If you don't live with the owner of this account, you need your own account to keep watching." Ouch, that sucks. And Netflix began testing the ability to purchase additional homes back in July, where an extra homes fee varied depending on the country, but wasn't more than an additional $2.99 in any location. Now, no word yet on how much it'll cost to purchase an additional home account here in the US, but whatever it is, isn't going to be widely accepted by current account holders. I sure as hell am not going to accept this. I might even cancel. Honestly, it might lead some to really start thinking about pirating some of its offerings and canceling their subscriptions. But what's interesting is Netflix added 1.8 million subscribers from January to March, so it seems the streaming giant is continuing to grow. But you know what? I want to know your thoughts on this story. Do you plan on keeping your account on Netflix if you have to pay an additional fee to share your account with friends and family? Sound off your disdain down below. Now in Marvel news, it's looking like the Wolverine we might see in the upcoming Deadpool 3 movie will be a lot different than what we've seen previously from Hugh Jackman. Now, while speaking with ET Canada, Ryan Reynolds explained how it all went down on pitching the idea of Logan to Jackman, saying, quote, "What we pitched him was enough of a divergence from the character that he knows and the character that he's left behind that it gives him something completely new to play and something that he's really excited to do." Now, what does that mean? Like, how will this Logan diverge from what we've seen previously from Hugh Jackman? Like, maybe we'll see Jackman take on a more Aussie version of Wolverine, similar to what played out on the Pride of the X-Men animated pilot. Like in that, Wolverine spoke with an Australian accent, which upset a lot of fans. A little known fact though, he was originally supposed to be Australian, but that idea never materialized and he remained Canadian. Now Hugh Jackman is Australian, so maybe there'll be some sort of tongue-in-cheek moments and subtle nods to that very short-lived series and idea. In other news, we got the name of the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel, Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. Will see the two massive monsters butting heads yet again to see who has the larger ego and even larger fighting prowess. Now, this will be the 5th film in the MonsterVerse series of movies Warner Brothers has been cooking up for fans. Now, no further details on the movie, but you can expect it to hit theaters March 15th, 2024.
I'm Stella Chung, and that was your Weekly Fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news of the week. See you then.